All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to Children's. Thank you. I mean, this whole program has become a second family to us. Yes, this is me. I'm a mom. That really was the beginning of this. I'm a spouse to people with celiac disease, and we've done a lot of traveling before we had children, and following. One of my special little people sitting right here in the front row. And it began with him. And I'm going to try and not get emotional, y'all. So ironically, my background is not originally in travel. I am a speech pathologist. I'm still an active speech pathologist, but I don't know. Something is hitting me a little bit more passionately about this whole new chapter of my life. Ironically, I did specialize in feeding. So I've been helping children and families kind of adapt to feeding challenges throughout their beginning and towards the ends of their lives. The GI system in me seems to have always had a thing, I guess. So we've done, like I said, a fair share of traveling before and following diagnosis, and I don't know about how all of you, but I identified something that just felt a lot different from the carefree sense of what a vacation really was supposed to feel like. And all of a sudden, it didn't feel so relaxing anymore. So you go through the different scenarios, I think, in your head of following the need to be gluten-free. Do we travel? Do we leave our house? Are we ready to? Are we ready to trust other people by creating food for us? What if this happens? What will we do? Especially when you think about the concept we're thinking of with the cruise, being in the middle of the ocean without having an option is a little daunting. What do we pack? I don't know about you guys, but I know everybody has the legendary extra suitcase full of snacks, the just-in-case bars, things like that. So you replay these scenarios again and again and again, and honestly, that's why I'm standing in front of you all today. I just got frustrated, and it didn't seem like it needed to be as hard as it was. Something needed to be done. So essentially, what I have identified, is it really worth it? So you're going to spend all these resources, time away from work, things like that, to take a chance and trust other people and hope that you're going to get that sense of what vacation is supposed to be about. You play those risks. What if, the cost. And I kind of laugh about the worries and the fear that I had before our diagnoses to the fears that I have following. And it's enough, again, to get me kind of choked up, because it just, the sitting in the waiting. So yes, you've pre-ordered your meals, but then why is everyone around you eating already and you're still waiting? And again, like I said about the financial component of it. So then this is kind of how this evolved. And there's my little man right up front here. He wants to be a kid. We all just want to be people and just be able to eat and relax and not have to have the constant conversations with your servers. And then the whole, do I really trust what you're saying? You're telling me this. You seem like you know what you're telling me or talking about, but I don't know if I really can trust. And then, again, the waiting. We're still waiting when everyone else is eating. So there we went. It was time to solve this problem. How this began. So it's been a process. Essentially, I feel like I have a combination of pushy but sweet, which I think has been beneficial to some of these major travel vendors in the industry. But there was a need for education. We've taken some ship tours. We've gone on this particular cruise ship, one of the first ones I'm going to talk about. And although I felt like they had a general understanding, there were still some things that would have stood out to all of us as, that's a scenario that I'm not completely comfortable with. We've been going through protocols. We're lucky enough that both cruise lines we are now partnering with, which is Royal Caribbean as well as AMA Waterways, has a personal story with celiac, and that was completely coincidental. And again, it kind of shows me that none of this was, I'm here doing this for a reason. The executive who we're working with in Miami with Royal Caribbean, I had this conversation with her, and I told many of you this story. I was Mama Bear and going through, this has to be like this. No, you don't understand. It's not, this is a serious thing. And she was kind enough to let me speak. She let me talk, and then she paused and she said, Maureen, I want you to relax. I have celiac disease. And again, I had to put the phone down for a brief second because it was powerful. And this whole process has been so powerful to me. And so there's been plans, there's been trips on the ship. So we've done a series of meetings in person. We're actually, Jeff and I are using this as an excuse to get away. Next weekend we are going on the identical sailing that will be happening in January for 3 nights to do another walkthrough to ensure, again, there's nothing being missed. In training. Training is an important piece to me. I feel like the entire mission of what we're trying to do is to educate not only these people being impacted by us because we're sailing with them, but the travel industry it's transient. So hopefully some of these servers, some of these chefs who then would leave a cruise ship that we're on would then take that to another vendor and have this memory of, oh yes, we had a lot of people who were, needed to be gluten-free, and that understanding of really what that means for us. So, underlying mission of what Celiac Cruise, I've kind of told you how it was created. It's more of I think for the longest time, there's been a lot of, no, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't have this. You can't have that. Trying to change that to a yes, you can. You can do this. In an environment that we all need breaks from the day-to-day, the carpool, the cooking, the jobs, so being able to be in a place that you can really relax and connect with your family, reconnect with your family. One of the things that I don't think I really anticipated being so powerful to me was the connections I've already made with people, because I genuinely mean, I want to talk to every single person. We've got almost 500 people, over 500 people going on the first cruise in January. And I think I've spoken to 200, and I'd rather talk to everyone because it's just people telling their stories. And it takes me back of why I'm doing this, why we're doing this. And, the thought of my little friend here connecting with Leslie's son in an environment of they can share a plate of French fries without having to have this, can I not? Education is a critical piece to me. That's why we are so lucky for the first sailing to have some wonderful research-based studies to give us some information of how we really need to continue living. And the education piece, I'm not going to force you to go and do this on your vacations, but it's always going to be, it's fine. You want to sleep in instead of having this informative education session with physicians and specialists, but it's there if you choose to want it. And that's going to be a ongoing thing. It's just part of what's important to me. And the chance to give back. We have most recently partnered with the Celiac Disease Foundation, as well as SHAR, and what those corporations are doing. I'm hoping to continue to provide the opportunity to further our research to give us more information of what our day-to-day lives need to be like. Again, ultimate relaxation. Let me not think for a few days. Let me leave home, pack 1 suitcase or maybe 2, depending upon how much you need. Jeff, don't say anything about my suitcases. But one of them is at least not going to contain tons of food, in case something were to happen. So where we are today, currently we have 2 sailings that are up and available for booking. The first one is a 3-night sailing on the Mariner of the Seas, which is a Royal Caribbean ship. It's in January. That we have, like I said, over 500 people. So at this point, we have a dedicated gluten-free kitchen galley. So the entire kitchen will be dedicated for our needs, the entire dining room. So if someone needs to eat gluten, we're going to have to ask them to leave, which, again, because it always goes the other way. This is Celiac Cruise. This is not accommodating. We accommodate everyone else all the time. This is our time to accommodate. So I will say it nicely. I will be polite or take your croissant, go someplace else. Hide. So so if you can see the picture here so the entire top level will be us. There's my little people, apple juice, of course, celebrating. And then the second one is a different type of sailing. It's on a river cruise called Ama Waterways, and that is going to be not a single crumb on the entire ship. It is a complete charter in which we have some pretty exciting people joining us for that too, which I'll get into in a second. So here's a little bit more information of kind of where we are. A very important person joining us on the bottom, Miss Vanessa. So that will be part of the education opportunities for you. And like I mentioned, like the opportunity for adults and children to connect. We're going to have evening gatherings, again, by choice. If you choose to want to join us, we'd love to have you. But I think a critical piece of this is for all of us to feel connected and human. I mean, just human nature, like to be able to associate with people. You tell your story, tell me, like I love that piece of it so much. Number two, again, this is a little bit of a different concept, but again, it's something that there is a definite need for as well. So this is the Danube River. Ama Waterways actually kind of caught wind of what we're doing, and it's coming back from dry dock a week early from their traditional season. So normally from December through March, end of March, they go in dry dock and deep clean the ship, and so they're going back to work 1 week early for us. So that entire ship will be for our group, in which everything will be new and clean and fresh, which is another very appealing concept for our needs. We're going to have we're going to go through Vienna, Austria, Bratislava, so the Czech Republic, as well as Budapest in the end. But we're going to have some adventures, excursions within these stunning cities to give you opportunities to experience it, again, without thinking, without worrying, just enjoying. So essentially, you're going to pack your bags, get on the ship, and then not think for the next few days, because we're taking care of it for you. I'm especially excited about this Gluten-Free Oktoberfest party. The soft pretzel thing has always been a thing, like, just soft pretzel, like how can we find a way? And that was my big push with Ama. I was like, please, and they're like, sure, we've got that, we'll do that. So we are going to have, as we're leaving Germany on sail away day, a gluten-free Oktoberfest party. As I mentioned earlier, the education community piece of this is critical. So as much as possible, we're going to offer people the opportunity to gather wine, optional but available. Should you want to participate in some cooking demonstrations to kind of learn some of the culture of these cities and how they prepare their gluten-free foods. And some very important people. Dr. Charabati will be joining us on that sailing, again, for the education piece, as well as my sweet Vanessa, and amongst many other people too. There's another one coming. So again, not to be this big teaser here, Royal Caribbean takes this so seriously, and it's not me just going through and picking a sailing and saying, oh, that one works great. They take this all the way up to their executive team to ensure it's an environment that they can guarantee we're not at risk. So in the next week or so, I'm going to have another cruise for you. So I was hoping to have it before today, but they told me I needed to early next week. So not to be the tease, but we will be launching that on our social media and our website as soon as, hopefully sometime this week. So if cruises aren't for you, we know there are a lot of other great options to travel. Some of our, obviously, kind of, for our kids, direct to places. Disney does it right. We all know that. Their parks they take allergies very seriously, so that would be a recommendation for other options. Universal, I think, has followed suit because of Disney's taking it so seriously, as well as the beaches, resorts, and there's some dedicated, and I'm sure Leslie might get into some of this, so I don't want to, but if a cruise isn't for you, there's a lot of other things that you just have to ask the necessary questions that we all have become so comfortable doing. I'm sure many of you are very active in the social media, blogging world, but there's some phenomenal resources online. The Gluten-Free Globetrotter, she's been all around the world. She's got a ton of resources that she can offer you with city-specific guides of where to Gluten-Free Finder app. I'm sure everyone has that on their phone. If you don't, download it right now. It is giving us so many choices all over the world, wherever we want to go. And there's also some specific, geared towards Disney. There's a gluten-free Disney app that shows you in the parks or wherever you are. So, and there's these wonderful partners I've told you about that have just been so supportive of what I've wanted to do from the beginning, and I don't have enough time to thank every single one of you so much. Here I go again. But it's been a very powerful experience for me. So I thank you all for being here today and listening to me. Just wanted to check, does anybody have any questions about? Yes?
I do. I noticed that you said Hilton hotels, and I travel for business and I stay
Okay.
at Hilton, and every single one of them cannot serve me.
Okay,
So
okay.
what do you do at Hilton?
Well, I think, no, industry-wide, I think this is one of the things that I'm sure, we've all experienced on social media, in which you see someone has a great experience someplace, and then the comments following aren't. So I think there is a lot of this that is hit or miss. Obviously, that's why I am where I am. I'm doing what I'm doing because of this hit or miss. We have had a few different experiences. So I think it's just a matter of, you've got to do that work ahead of time, which No, it's a great, so, yes.
Can you go back to the previous slide?
Sure,
Thank you. I didn't write it all down. One more. Thank you.
of course. Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.